Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started today. Now we're going to start or begin to move away from sentence structure and on to other things. But these other things affect the understanding of the sentence, not necessarily the structure of the sentence, but these other things affect the meaning. The meaning. And you have to understand now you're going to be tested on concerning the sentence on really two basic things, or three. I make it three. One, of course, the grammatics of the sentence. Two, the structure of the sentence. And three, the meaning of the sentence. All of these things have to be in harmony. And if they're not in harmony, then we have a problem. And namely, the problem is an error. So in order to fully understand what you're supposed to do or be able to identify or be able to correct, you have to understand that those three areas, the grammatics, the structure, and the meaning, that you have to be aware of all the rules surrounding them. So today we're going to talk about the meaning. And this is a big topic. The beginning or introduction to this topic you have already done online. You went over adjectives and adverbs, which is the introduction to modifiers. So you already have an idea of modifiers being words that give us more information about something else in the sentence or gives more meaning to the sentence. So a basic introduction to modifiers, adjectives and adverbs, you've already done. And I believe that you've already even taken a test on that introduction, yes? Online. So today you're ready to go deeper into this issue of modifiers and meaning in a sentence. We're gonna start with dangling modifier. I usually start with misplaced modifier, but I decided to do something different today and start with dangling modifier. So right now, we're going to start with dangling modifiers in order to continue on or get into a more deeper understanding of modifiers and how they affect the meaning in a sentence. So let us begin. Dangling modifiers. First, of course, the question that you already came to class with, the answer to this question, what is a modifier? So that you should already know. It's like already know, you already understand that. You went over it online, the introduction to modifiers, adjectives and adverbs. So you already know about that. So what is a modifier? It's simply a word, phrase, or clause. Now understand, when we say modifier, we're not just talking about a word. We're talking about a word, phrase, or clause, a word or a group of words that do basically adds more information, describes or changes the meaning of. Whenever you're describing something or changing the meaning of something, you're adding some information. Thus, this is what modifiers do, and they do that to another word, phrase, or clause in a sentence. So it could be a situation where you have a word describing or changing the meaning of another word, or a word or phrase describing or changing the meaning of another word or phrase, or a word, phrase, or clause describing or changing the meaning of another word, phrase, or clause. So this is what modifiers do. So this basic definition you already have, or you had when you walked in the room. We want to go a bit further here. The placement of the modifier. What do we mean by placement? We mean where you put the modifier. Now, because it adds more information, it changes the meaning or describes something. The placement of that word, phrase, or clause that is going to give more meaning or describe something is really important now, because you could end up describing or giving more meaning or changing the meaning to something you weren't supposed to in the sentence. And then things sound a little crazy in the sentence. So you have to make sure that the modifier is in the right place. You have to make sure the modifier is in the right place in the sentence. Do not put it somewhere in the sentence where it's going to describe or change the meaning of a word that you didn't intend. Don't do that. That's the problem. And comment a step further. On the SAT, they test to see if you recognize that the modifier is in fact in the wrong place. This is what they test on the test. This is what they assess on the test. So you have to be able to do it when you're doing your own writing, and you have to be able to identify it being done when you're reading someone else's writing. Sometimes writers, they leave out, either by forgetting or intentionally, words that's supposed to modify, words that the modifier is supposed to describe or change the meaning of. And when that happens, we call that a dangling modifier. So what does this word dangling mean? The word dangling means to be left hanging alone by itself. Visual, look, here's a visual. Dangling, to be left hanging by itself. Not being in any particular place, or not being alone, or being alone. That's what dangling means. So dangling modifier essentially means a modifier that is there by itself, left there alone. So now you got the modifier, so then the reader is like, I don't understand, because, okay, I get the modifier. Here's the modifier. But what exactly is it modified? I don't see it in the sentence. The other modifier problem is when the author mistakenly or intentionally puts the modifier in the wrong place. Now, in this situation, the thing being modified is in the sentence, and the modifier is in the sentence, but they're in the wrong place. They are in the wrong place. That causes confusion, because maybe there are two things in the sentence, and if the modifier is in the wrong place, you won't understand which thing the modifier is modifying. In that case, it's called the misplaced modifier, because the thing being modified is in the sentence. So we can't say the modifier is there alone. So now we have to say that it's simply misplaced. It's not in the right place. In both of these situations, when we have this problem with the modifier and it not being clear what it is supposed to modify, in both cases, we have a problem with meaning, confusing the reader. Okay, so now let's look at something a little more practical here. An example. Okay. Oh, but I want you to get this, the dangling modifier. What is the dangling modifier? I want you to get that definition. What is the dangling modifier? We got the definition for what is a modifier, but now we need to get the definition of what is a dangling modifier. My job is not to provide you with writing instruments. You're supposed to come to class with your writing instrument in order to take notes. It's not my responsibility to provide you with one. Well, we can't do that, especially when we know we come to class. So I don't know what you're going to do. There's the definition. NG, do not allow other students to distract you. is when the modifier is modifying a word, phrase, or clause that is not in the sentence. That's simply put. That is dangling modifier. Make sure you get this definition because you're tested on dangling modifier and you're tested on misplaced modifier. So you got to know the difference between the two because you got to know how to handle the situation when you find yourself in that situation dealing with one of them. Understand what I'm saying, Miss Zayna? Okay, next time you don't have to bam on the door. Okay, I know he's the one who bammed on the door very inconsiderately, but next time you don't have to do that, sir. Yeah, you can be more considerate, like your parents trained you. Oh, I know it's not okay, but you're saying it's okay, but it's not. I know you think it's okay because you did it, but it's not. Thank you. Have a seat. Okay, here we go. We have to be able to distinguish the two definitions so that in our minds we know how to handle the problem when we are confronted with it. Miss Zayna, I want you to take a look at this. Definitely write it down, especially when we're providing examples. The examples are the best way to study when you're at home because you get an actual visual on what it looks like when you're dealing with the concept. You're not just dealing in theories and definitions. The examples are the most important thing to get down in your notes when we're going over these concepts. And I want to add to that because I know you're writing this sentence down. When you're getting down the examples and I'm going over it, make sure you add notes to those examples, circling things, underlining things, writing stuff off to the side. You want to get as much information surrounding the example as possible so that when you're studying, you'll have a better comprehension of what it is that you are studying. Okay, looking through the binoculars. Slowly swam across the lake. We're missing a word. Let's go ahead and put the word there, the duck. All right, Miss Zayna. The meaning of this sentence. We're not talking about sentence structure anymore. We're finished with that. Now we're moving on. And as I said at the beginning, that essentially you're tested on three areas when it comes to a sentence. The grammatics of the sentence, the structure of the sentence, and the meaning of the sentence. Now we're dealing with meaning, okay? We dealt yesterday and then all those days, structure. Today, meaning. The meaning of this sentence, is it logical? Is it clear? Just the meaning. You think so? Okay. All right. So now let's get a little deeper. I want you to tell me, where is the modifying word, phrase, or clause in this sentence? Because we are talking about modifiers, so we need to be able to identify the modifier in the sentence. So where is the word, phrase, or clause that we can label as the modifier? Where's the modifier in this sentence? Okay, I did color code this sentence. So why don't you do this for me, Ms. Zane, and make it maybe even easier for you? What color represents the modifier in this sentence? The yellow. And I have to agree with Ms. Zayna. The words that are in the yellow happens to be a phrase. It is the modifier. So here's the big question, Ms. Zayna. What is it modifying? Because the modifier, be it a word, phrase, or clause, is going to modify another word, phrase, or clause in the sentence. So is there a word, phrase, or clause that the modifier is modifying in this sentence? The duck. Okay, good. All right, so she is correct. It is modifying the duck. This is where you start taking notes again. You go back to the sentence you wrote, and you get those notes. Because I don't know if you got it color-coded in your notebook or not, but looking through the binoculars is the modifier. And as Zaina pointed out, it is modifying the duck. So you need to make sure you get all that down in your notes, because I'm about to ask Ms. Zaina another question. Ms. Zaina, you're right. Looking through the binoculars is the modifier. It's modifying the duck. But let me ask you this now, because now we're dealing with meaning, okay? Is it logical? It is logical. Okay. Because ducks look through binoculars all the time. Duck, you know what a duck is, right? Yeah, you know binoculars are, right? Okay. So ducks look through binoculars. No. Zaina, handle it now. Zaina, look. We're looking at the meaning of the sentence now. Get away from sentence structure for a minute. The structure of the sentence is fine. So get away from the structure of the sentence for a minute. Think about the meaning of the sentence. And think, is that logical? It's not logical. Maybe in a 3D movie, it's logical. A 3D, cartoon movie. I mean, that because that's personification. They make the animals do things humans do. But in real life, ducks don't look through binoculars. Can you agree with me, Ms. Singh? Yes? Okay. So obviously there's a problem. We got the modifier there, but look at the rest of the sentence. Is there anything else in the sentence that it could possibly modify? That it could be, that would make, logical outside of the duck? Nothing else. Nothing else. So this is in fact a dangling modifier. We got the modifier there, but the thing that it should be modifying is not there. Correct this sentence, everybody. Rewrite the sentence and add the thing that the modifier looking through the binoculars should modify. Put the thing that's supposed to modify in the sentence. Rewrite the sentence. Put the thing that is supposed to modify in the sentence, because it's not in the sentence now. Come on. Don't just sit there and look. Rewrite the sentence, sir. If it's a dangling modifier, that means that the thing that looking through the binoculars, the modifier is supposed to modify, is not in the sentence. You're going to put it in the sentence. So go ahead. No. Miss Angie. What happened to this new spot? Come on, hang out over here. Come on, hang out. And Miss, welcome to your new gym. Yeah. Okay. Excelente. Okay. Can we put it? Think of logic now. Ducks don't look through binoculars. What looks through binoculars? Humans. Okay. Put a human in the sentence. Come on. That's it. Put a human in the sentence. You finished? Oh, okay. Zaina, you did it? You still thinking? Oh. That's great. I didn't call on you. Mr. Mahmoud, did you read us what you wrote? Nice and loud. Just read it. Come on. Just read it. Read the rewrite. You rewrote the sentence, right? Read it. Good. Binoculars. Okay, so you said the boy, listen. The boy looked through the binoculars, right? Yes? And I'm going to help you out. The boy looked through the binoculars as the duck swam slowly swam across the lake. Yes? Okay. I like that. Anybody got another one? Omar, you said you had one. Go ahead. Okay. Okay, so you changed the meaning of the sentence quite a bit, because looking through the binoculars, he slowly swam across the lake, gives us the impression that he's swimming and looking through the binoculars at the same time. He's special ops. You get that what it? I mean, they're swimming and he's looking through it. Okay. Swimming. Okay, so special ops. Anybody else? Miss Amy, did you take a stab at it? All right, so only two fearless people in here want to take a stab at correcting the sentence. Oh, I get it. Only two people are going to take the SAT. That's good. That's good. Only two people in here taking the SAT. Well, that's interesting. I just thought everybody here was taking the SAT. Maybe I'm wrong. I shouldn't have. Oh, go ahead, Miss. Okay. So you're going with the special ops. Y'all play too many video games. Okay, so here we go. We want to keep the duck in the sentence. Let's try to keep the duck in the sentence, and let's see if we can correct. Looking through the binoculars, I saw the duck slowly swim across the lake. That's another way. He did it that way. I did it this way. But the point being, and this is a really important point, especially for the SAT folk, when you have to add the thing being modified, be careful that the meaning is not taken out. You have to add the thing and keep the meaning. In the first sentence, the duck was essential in the meaning of this sentence because the duck was doing the swimming. So any addition, you had to keep the duck swimming, because that's what ducks do. Right? I mean, people swim too, and people swim looking through binoculars, special ops. I mean, that's what they do. They do stuff like that. But that would be changing the meaning of the sentence, and we don't want to do that. We want to keep the meaning. You don't want to add nothing that I said. Well, I'm gonna put it to you like this, Mr. Aquaman the Bass. You got to take the SAT again. You don't want to add to your score? Then don't add anything to what I'm talking about. I mean, I'm just being real with you. I mean, if you don't want to learn more, then don't expect to get more when you take that test again. Well, you ain't got to explain. I mean, hey, that's the same thing. If you don't want to take that extra step that you know you need to take to get them extra points, then don't expect them points. Because it don't happen through osmosis. You know osmosis? No, you do you don't do nothing with it. It disappears. Okay. I know you would like for it to be like that, but it don't happen like that. Okay, so here we go. That's not necessary. Let's keep going. I don't want to confuse you already. Okay, here it is. I like this sentence. And so does Omar Salah. He likes the sentence too. Everybody's writing the sentence down. This is yours. This is your sentence. You got to handle it like a pro. All right? So here we go. Staring out over the ocean, the hurricane force winds were daunting. Now, don't interrupt him, Omar. Let him go ahead, Omar. Son. Is first. I want you to tell me, because I didn't color code it this time. Where is the modifier? There's only one first sentence. I'm sorry. Could you be more specific? Before the comma. Okay, why don't you be technical? We can be technical here. You can tell me whether it's a phrase or clause or even what type of phrase or clause it is. I mean, you know, honest. we won't be mad at you for being all technical. So it's a modifier, okay? But is it a word, phrase, or clause? That's what we're trying to establish. We just want to know. Okay, so we just leave it there. It's a clause. Okay. So I actually don't want to get into that whole topic of sending instructions. I'm trying to get us away from it today because we talk about meaning, so we just leave it at that. It's actually a phrase, but that's okay. So staring out over the ocean is the modifier, as Omar Salah said. Everybody agree? Okay. Here's the big question. Now let Omar handle this, okay? All right, this is Omar's time in the spotlight. What word, phrase, or clause is that modifier modifying? What word, phrase, or clause is it describing or changing the meaning of, or giving more information about? The hurricane. Correct. He's correct. So now, Omar, 2 for 2. He got both of the questions right. Now for the big. It's still, I mean, you know, I still got you. So this is the big one. This is the big one now. Here's the big question. Is it logical that the modifier staring out over the ocean can modify the hurricane? Is it logical? Read the whole sentence. Is it logical? It's not logical. 3 for 3. He got it all. He got it all. I have to agree with Omar Salah. If you know what a hurricane is, because actually you had to know what the word hurricane means. I had to say that. I had to be fair with you. That's just vocabulary. Omar, listen to what I'm about to say, okay? Okay, listen good. Vocabulary is so important. If you didn't know what hurricane means, then you probably didn't get it. It's not logical. A hurricane, and here's the funny thing, a hurricane does have an eye. It does. You know what a hurricane is, though. Let me just say. Zayna, do you know what a hurricane is? Do you know what a hurricane is? Not a hurricane. Omar, do y'all take natural sciences at any time, any point, earth sciences, anything like that? A hurricane is a weather phenomenon. It's like the tornado. You know what a tornado is? Yes. All right. You know what a cyclone is? All right. Cyclone is another name for hurricane. Here it is. In the middle of the hurricane, there is a big hole in the middle of the hurricane. They call it the eye. But I don't think that's what the author means here. Even though the hurricane does have an eye in the middle, I don't think the author meant that it was actually seeing something. So Omar Salah is right. It is not logical. Rewrite the sentence. Rewrite the sentence and put the modifier, the thing that the modifier is supposed to be modifying in this sentence. Put it in there. We know it's a dangling modifier. We know the modifier is staring out over the ocean. We know the thing in this sentence is supposed to modify, which is the hurricane, but that doesn't make sense. That's not logical. So obviously that it is supposed to modify is not in the sentence. Miss Zayna. I can't do one separation. Okay. Omar, you want to go four for four or what? 4 for 4? Do the correction too? Go all the way with it. Omar be the master of the ceremony today. Correct it. Now, come on. Because he can do it by himself. Go ahead, Omar. Correct. Remove the and put I. Now, I tell you what. That'd be kind of awkward. While? Oh, whoa. If you put while, then you still don't have the thing being modified. Who tried it? Who did it? Who corrected it? Who corrected it? Who tried? Who like? Go ahead. He says. You did the same thing because you said the hurricane is staring. You say hurricane stared. You say stared, right? Then that goes back to the problem with the dangling modifier here because the hurricane can't actually see, although it has an eye in the middle. But that's just the word that they call or use to describe the hole in the middle of the hurricane. They call it an eye, but it doesn't actually see like our eyes. Miss Angie, what has eyes and can see? Humans. Well, I mean, animals. They got eyes too. But the point I'm trying to make is that with that knowledge, what would logically be? Okay, go ahead, Miss Omar. I think you got it. Go ahead. Okay, so you're getting the concept a little better here. You're dealing with the illogicalness of this sentence. Now we just got to kind of like, rewrite the sentence a little better here. Okay, go ahead, Ahmed. Okay, that's good. He's getting even closer there. Did you hear what he said? Say it again. While I was staying, okay, the hurricane winds were daunting while I was staring over the ocean. That is a much better change there. Okay, so let's just see. Let's oh, there it is. Okay, there we go. We already know that. Already said that the hurricane is not alive. We know it doesn't have all of that. So let's continue here. Staring out over the ocean, Matt saw the daunting hurricane force winds. We can say it like that. We can change it the way I changed it. There are actually a lot of ways you can change it to keep the meaning and make the thing being modified clear and so forth and so on. Let's look at this next one. Okay, so I hope we can do this a little faster. This next one. Are you ready to tackle the next one? You want to go back to the old one? Go ahead. It was right in its essence because you were correcting the modifier. You were putting the thing being modified in the sentence. So in essence, it was right. Mahmoud, I got to give you this next one down here. When in 3rd grade, my mother went back to college. Okay, let's do it in steps. Where's the modifier here? When in 3rd grade. Excellent. Bingo. Anyone disagree with that? All right, here we go. What is the modifier modifying in this sentence? There you go. 2 for 2. Let's go for 3. Is it logical? It's logical. Okay. All right. Okay, okay, slow down, slow down. I want to make sure everybody gets the sentence here. Miss Zane, you don't think it's logical? Okay, okay, slow down. All right. Okay, now. Okay, go ahead. Tell me why you think it's linked. I'm curious. Why you don't think it's logical? No, but you got to explain it. I mean, this the whole discussion of logic. You got to explain why you don't think it's logical. This is logical. Why you don't think it's logical? No, let her do it. She can do it. Okay, I'm saying, okay, we got that. But could you explain the meaning, though? Why is something wrong with the meaning? Just read the words. Tell us. I mean, just read it. Tell us why you think there's something wrong with the meaning. Okay. Let me say the answer. I mean, I'm trying to get you to say the answer. The whole answer, the whole meaning. So if you could tell me why it's not logical, you got the answer. Oh, okay. Maybe Omar is going to do it. Go ahead, Omar. Then get the meaning. Okay, you mean the modify? Okay, go ahead. Go. Okay, go slow down. Don't do the correction yet. Okay, Omar, are you going to tell me about why it's not logical? Don't correct it. Okay, go ahead. Yeah. Okay. Okay, whoa. Don't correct it yet. Okay, so let me say it. Maybe this is what you're thinking. How can the mother go to college in the third grade? Or even worse, go back to college in the third grade? Huh? It's not logical. Oh, so as it is written, that's what I'm talking about. As it is written here, it's saying the mother went back to college in the third grade. Or maybe she went to college in the first grade. Yeah. What? But okay, so can we all see that it's not logical the way it is? Okay, so I know you want to correct it, Omar. I know you want to correct it, Omar. You want to correct it? Okay, go ahead, Zane. Let's go back to Zane. You want to correct it? Uh-huh. Do you? You don't agree? You don't agree, Omar? Did you hear what she said? Okay, she said, my mother went back to college when I was in. If we put she, then we go back to where we started from. So when I was in the third grade. Oh, I know what you want. I mean, but that's going back to where it was. Okay. Logic, we know the mama didn't go to college in the first grade, skip the second grade, go back in the third grade. We know that. So here is a better correction. Let's see how close Miss Zeta got. Okay, we know that. When I was in the third grade, my mother went back to college. That's exactly what you said. I don't know why it's doing this to me. Okay, there it is. You got it? Get the correction. If you didn't correct it that way, get the correction. Write down why it should be that way. Look at it, understand it, study it tonight so that you can get this. I have to say, this is advanced grammar. This is 10th, 11th grade grammar, and this is what you have to get. You got to get it. You got to get it, or you can forget it. You got to get it or you forget it. And I'm actually playing. I'm actually serious. You don't get it, you ain't gonna get it. Yeah, you get it. Okay, so we can go over a little bit more because I have a few words I would like to say. But we're going to spare our viewing audience the words that I want to say and allow them to go back to their situations. Okay, here we go. Let us continue here. Okay, so we know that we cannot leave the dangling modifier the way it is because it's going to affect the meaning. So we have to fix it. We have to fix it. So let's do another one here. The question is, how do we fix it? It is very simple. We got simple ways that we can fix it. We can change the main part of the sentence so it begins with the term that is being modified. We can, and let's see if we got an example for that. We can, okay, the change, of course, we'll put the modifier next to what it modifies. You know that. Let's look at an example of this real quick. Looking toward the west, a funnel-shaped cloud stirred up dust. Miss Angie, I think you're ready. Number one, where's the modifier? Read it. That's all I know you're talking about. All right, looking toward the west. That is the modifier. I agree, Miss Angie. That's one. Number two, what is it modifying in this sentence? Funnel. 2 for 2. Is it logical? No. 3 for 3. Everybody, Miss Angie's going to correct it, but everybody's going to rewrite it right now. Rewrite it right now. She says that number one, the modifier is looking towards the west. Number two, she got it right. The thing that's being modified in the sentence is the funnel, but that's not logical. So the thing in the sentence that is supposed to modify must not actually be in the sentence at all. Thus, we have a dangling modifier. Rewrite it so that we can correct it. Okay, you ready, Miss Zana? I'm sorry, Miss Angie. No, let her. You got it. She gonna do the correction. Go ahead. Shh. Huh? Think about it. Take your time. Take your time. Take your time. You don't need to rush. Uh-huh. Okay, looking towards the west, the human shape. Okay. All right, slow down. Mr. Mahmoud, you want to help out here? Go ahead. There you go. Okay, you got another way. It's logical now. Who's doing the looking towards the west? So that's essentially he got it. Maybe you didn't like the way he did it. Okay, you want to got another way? Good. Okay, all right. There's another way. Anybody else got another way? Okay, so at least I know you get the concept, right? You got the concept. You got the concept. You got the concept. Yes. Okay, so let's look. Let's see if we can correct it, or if there's a better way to correct it, because there's more than one way to correct this. Looking towards the west, I saw funnel shape. That's a good one. That's one way. Jim. And okay, where's the modifier, Ms. Nada? Excellent. There it is. Everybody's writing the sentence down. Everybody underlined that and identified it as the modifier. Walking to the movies. Excellent. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, now that's one. Let's go for two. Ms. Nada, what is being modified in the sentence? Everybody is rewriting it while Ms. Nada is figuring it out. No, I'm not asking you to figure it out in your head. I'm asking Ms. Nada to figure it. You're writing it down. You're rewriting it down. And correcting it. Okay. Good. Go ahead. Okay, so I'm gonna have to be a little fair here with this sentence because the thing being modified is actually in the sentence. So I don't think this sentence is going to be a classical dangling modifier here, because the thing is actually in the sentence. It's just not in the right place. So we're actually dealing with a misplaced modifier here. But since you got the concept, I still think you can correct it. You still want to try? You want Omar? Correct it. Mm, okay. All right. Hold that thought, Omar.
The movies, gym shit.
Closer. Go ahead, Omar Salah. Oh, okay. Ahmed the best. Okay. I like that one. I like that. Huh? Yeah. He just said it a little more grammatically. All right, so I'll get you. Both of you said. Anybody? Basically, what you're saying is walking to the movie. Jim was drenched by the cloudburst. That's basically what y'all said. Yes. So everybody got. Yeah. Yeah, you can add it. You can change it in a lot of different ways, but that's it. I think that's more a misplaced modifier than a dangling modifier, but you got the concept. Excellent. I think we probably would be best if we stop here because we are at the very beginning of getting the concept. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about the misplaced modifier. Same concept, just a different thing happening to the thing that is supposed to be modified. So that's what we're going to be dealing with tomorrow, misplaced modifier. Study tonight so that tomorrow you can get that concept really, really easily. All right.